Some could say I'm endlessly entertaining. There has been 7 seconds between last video and now. This really is not a set of highlights. It's just chunks. That message won't make sense if you see this one first. Just I finished my sentence before I got halfway through it. Put my sentence together in the wrong order, same way I count numbers from right to left, but I obviously understand how orders of magnitude works, so no, don't. Who would have thought that anyway? Like 1% of people. I went out of my way to explain that to the 1% of people who thought that. Weird. We're all weird. And people think that means we're all the same level of weird too, but no. Just because everybody is weird doesn't mean some people aren't weirder. And I think I'm one of the more weird ones. But in an understandable way. Unlike, that's the thing I don't even want to say. Like, there's not technically anything wrong with them, but it's just like, ew, gross. That's different than me, and I blatantly just feel repulsed by it on a instinctual level. But like, ain't nothing wrong with them. You know, don't you guys actually even know what specifically I'm talking about? What did you think at first I was talking about, though? Because I might tell you something more about yourself. If only you guys could feel my breathing. I breathe in and I breathe out. I can feel the air moving along the inside of my nose. I can feel the temperature rise and fall. I can feel the burning sensation that, I don't know, I probably could feel that in a normal state of mind for me anyway, but I don't know, when I stop talking, I can really feel more. That's why I like to talk, because I feel less. Maybe that's why I like to focus on my work, because I feel even less. Maybe that's why I like to be focused and be in the flow and focus on a certain thing, because I feel less of everything else. What if the reason I love to focus isn't because focusing itself, but because the lack of awareness of everything else is what I really want? I could care less if I'm paying attention to something as long as I stop paying attention to something else. I don't need to find a fulfilling life to keep me busy. I just need to stop thinking about something, about certain ideas. So if I just stop thinking altogether, it's actually a better solution. Basically what I'm saying is I've just made a compelling argument for why I should kill myself, but I don't feel like it. It's just kind of where the conclusion led to. I don't even know if it's valid. Obviously, I'm not going to follow through with it without verification. It's fucking, you can't take it back. But like, that did lead me to think about that. I'm not sure if it was kind of unprompted, because I guess I wasn't paying attention to something. What was it? So my toes have been doing a repetitive movement for like the entirety of this video. The position is essentially my second toe is pointed out, my big toe is kind of pressing it inward a little bit so that it stays out, and so I have this one toe sticking out and it's rubbing against the kind of the thick area below your like big toe knuckle on the left foot. That area I'm like rubbing across it back and forth like with my long toe on my right foot. So it's kind of like flopping left and flopping right. It's like, a way to relieve the tension. It's kind of like puckering and then crossing over. But, yep, I've been doing that for a while. And I didn't notice, I guess. I was going to say I didn't tell you, then I was going to say I just didn't realize. When I realized, didn't even notice. It just happens so much. I can't even tell how often it happens at this point anymore. Dude, I think I made it stop. It just stopped. I don't know if I did that. I feel like I did because I was talking. It's starting again. I don't think I had anything to do with that. Wait, see if I can make it stop. See, I told you I can. Unless that was a coincidence. Yeah, I feel like I'm letting them start moving around. See, this would be so much more fun if you could see into my mind. You could see the visualizations of my feet I have even while my eyes are closed. But instead, all you have is audio. Is that interesting enough? I don't know. Maybe not for some people. Some people aren't as into audio. But it's okay. It's for people that stayed here. It means you definitely do think audially, orally, whatever you want to call it. For you people, that means this is probably really interesting to you. Probably more interesting than it is to me. But honestly, that's kind of boring to me. But interest is subjective. Interest is subjective. What leads people to find a common ground, and what we can all as a community agree on is interesting, if our interests are completely subjective. Do we have common things within our biology that cause us to be interested in similar things? Like, some people would say that they are interested in food, and that's probably something that's a lot of people have. Not everybody. It's the minority of people to genuinely find interest in food, but it's comparatively more than most other things. Like, how many people can you find that are genuinely interested in what's something niche? Caterpillars. I can't think of anybody like that. I can imagine someone like that, and then when I meet them, I think, wow, it's probably not a lot of people like you. But there could be a lot of people that really like caterpillars, and if they just unite, it would make it seem like there's so many of them. You think there's no way that's all of them. Look how easy it was to just make a group there. Nope, that was all of them. So you might think something like 1 or 2% of the population, thinks that way, but really it's 0.001% of people, just because they managed to say something inflammatory enough to make it to the big times. And maybe it got big because an algorithm predicted that it would be the most interesting to everybody and thus keep our attention the best. So if life is about being interesting, does it logically follow with equal accuracy to say that life is about garnering attention? Maybe. Maybe they are one-to-one statements. I'm not sure. How would you know? How could you know? Is there even a possibility in a certain hypothetical situation where you know for sure that you could know? Perhaps the other way, is there a certain logical situation which you could not know? And finally, given any combination of those, what does that leave us to be? Nothing? The space between two nothings? One thing, the other thing, both things, the hyperinflation of the universe while conjunctively being both of them, and a little bit of neither of them sometimes, but only when it's both. Like egg salad from a gas station, you know which one? I know that sounded random, but it wasn't. It was intentionally ridiculous. It was an analogy so convoluted that it just doesn't make any sense. That's not really an analogy, it'd be more like a metaphor. And if you just throw in a metaphor and people can't figure out what it's a metaphor for, it literally just sounds ridiculous. It just sounds like random words being put in there. Here's an example of a metaphor where you're not going to understand relation at first, and it's just going to sound completely random. The eagle squawked. And the chicken, $6.99. No, that one was honestly a little bit easy to figure out. Ready? This is going to make even less sense. Tree trunks the elephant. And that is why she sings. I mean, try to figure out what I thought to get me to that conclusion. What algorithm do you have for that? I had a simple one. But you could probably estimate it somewhat okay with computers. Okay, I guess I'm done with this talk. Is my phone on rotate mode? Is that why it's doing this? Kind of bothers me. I don't like rotated cameras. I make a better view for recording though, so good for you guys.